Khristina from Redefine Creative, and I want to welcome you to November 2nd and the second day of 30 Days of Sketches. This is a series that I am doing with my friend Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, as well as my friend Crystal from Pineapple Papers. And so today's sketch is there on the left side of the screen for you. And I'm starting with a 12 by 12 sheet of white cardstock, and then I'm using some fog gray ink, and that's just from Scrapbook.com, and going around the edges. And so this particular sketch is a really mixed media distressed type looking background. And so I'm going to create that look without a lot of the mess with some stamping and inking. So I'm going to take just some black ink this time and use this Tim Holtz stencil to create some stencil work that I'm going to build off of. So I have one little edge of that over on that right hand side of the layout, and then I have another little section kind of in the bottom left. It's not all the way on the left edge, but towards the bottom. And I'm going to also use this Orange Crush, which is this Catherine Pooler really bright orange ink, because my son is wearing black and orange in the picture, and orange is the color of his baseball team. So around here, he is sort of obsessed with orange. So we're going to get some orange in there. So I took that little tube of paint and put the bottom of the tube into my ink pad and used it to make some subtle little circles that are going to be on the background, and you'll be able to see those a little better in the close-ups. Then I went ahead and took a stamp set from Illustrated Faith and added a larger orange square and a little black square, and they look kind of like they're hand-drawn almost, into each of those two clusters as well. And then I'm just playing around with a whole ton of scraps of paper that I have left over. So it's kind of the theme so far this month, is that I'm trying to get through using a bunch of leftovers. So I've got some orange cardstock. I've got some old Cocoa Vanilla. I have some Pink Fresh Studio Boys Loft. I have all kinds of different papers and collections. I think I get some Freestyle from Photoplay in there. We're getting all kinds of pattern paper behind my photo. And so I start out very intentionally with where I put the orange and the black squares, but then when I added all the mats behind my photo, the two that I created in that left corner kind of got covered up. So I re-stamped them a little bit further over, and you'll never be able to tell that I have two sets because those inside ones just aren't going to show. And then I also grabbed a Close to My Heart baseball stamp, and I'm adding a baseball to each of my clusters, because this is literally my baseball kid, and he's got a baseball shirt on. This was actually a picture that was taken on Christmas morning, where he had gotten this hat and these brand new Oakley sunglasses to wear on the field, and he was so excited. He loves hats, he loves his glasses. The joke on his team is that if he takes his sunglasses off, the other players will think that there's a new kid on the team, because they won't recognize him. Because they don't really know what his face looks like. They just know it with the glasses on. So he was really excited to get some fancy sunglasses for Christmas. So that's kind of what I am talking about and what I am documenting on this particular page. I am going to take this one of a kind, and these are kind of like epoxy almost thickers. And these were from Vicki Boutin. And use that as my title, so it's going to say one of a kind, and that's where I'm going to get that little strip of extra pattern paper, and I believe that's from Freestyle in there as well. So I'm really just building up layers and layers and layers. And so this is that point where you're like, hey, your layout doesn't really look like the sketch anymore, and it totally doesn't, and that's okay. So all I want you to remember, something that I want you to think about and remember, is that a sketch is just a jumping off point. So it's just giving you somewhere to start and to get inspired. So if you're stuck, if you're not sure what you want to make, if you just really like the look of a particular sketch, it's giving you a spot to start. That does not mean that you are married to that sketch and it has to be an exact representation as you go. That is absolutely not the case. Seriously, sketches are just there to kind of give you some inspiration. Now, if you love the sketch and you want to do it exactly, great, go for it. But don't think that you can't kind of go off in your own direction, because this layout certainly went off in its own direction a little bit from the sketch. But I love where it went, and so that's okay. So you saw there I did add another cluster of my background work on that top kind of left-hand corner of where my photo is. that is going to finish off my visual triangle with those 3 elements of mixed media that I have going on. And this is a really like simple mixed media. So this is not a crazy, get super messy, wait for backgrounds to dry, but it still has that same look to it of a lot of layering and a lot of cool detail in the background. I am just adding some enamel dots to each section, and then I'm looking for some phrases that will work in each section as well, because I want to dress up and add a little more dimension to each part of the layout. So the ones on the top say make it count, exist loudly, and live for the moments. The ones on that baseball off on the right hand side say be authentic and then epic goofball, because, you know, that's Ty. He is the baseball player, but he is also completely the class clown. And so we have all that stuff kind of going on. That phrase that I am putting on the other side says, if you're lucky enough to be different, never change. So I'm just adding little things. And I keep adding and adding and adding until I get to that point where I feel like, okay, I'm done. It's good. So I'm playing around with some more different embellishments. What are the other things that I want to add? How am I going to kind of complete this look? And so I'm looking at alphas. I'm just trying to decide if there's anything else that I need. And kind of at this point, I decide this is good and I am done. It is a representation that started with the best intentions with this sketch, which this sketch actually got me to pull out my mixed media and do some inking and stamping, which is awesome because I love that look and it is not always one that I pull out and go for. And I got to use up lots of scraps and create loads of layers. So do make sure that you also check out the videos from Christy from Christy's Beautiful Life, as well as Crystal from Pineapple Papers. And I will be back to see you again tomorrow with sketch number 3.